Okay, so we need to subtract these two fractions, and in order to subtract, they have to have the same denominator. And if I just take this whole denominator and multiply it here and here, and this whole denominator and multiply it here and here, it should eventually work out, but it's going to be a huge mess. So what you want to do instead, you always have to try to remember to factor these denominators first. So if I factor this first denominator, what multiplies to give us 4 and adds to give us 5 will be x plus 1 and x plus 4. And then over here, what multiplies to give us 32 and adds to give us 12 will be x plus 8 and x plus 4. All right, now this is important because both of these denominators already have an x plus 4 in common, so we don't need to multiply each fraction by that again. All we have to do is multiply by what it's lacking. So for example, this first denominator doesn't have an x plus 8 like the second one does, so that's what we're going to multiply by over here, all right, on the numerator and the denominator. And then over here, this fraction doesn't have an x plus 1 in the denominator, so that's what we're going to give it. Okay. So your next step is you need to distribute here and here. All right, and we're going to keep the denominator in factored form. So when I multiply these two together, we get an x squared minus 2x plus 8x minus 16. And then it's still all over x plus 8, x plus 4, and x plus 1. Minus, go ahead and distribute that 8, so 8x plus 8 over x plus 8, x plus 4, and x plus 1. Okay, now we're in a position where both denominators are identical. All right, so we can combine like terms up top, but what you have to be careful about on this is subtraction. So we have to subtract the 8x, so it's going to be like a negative 8x, and we have to subtract the 8, so I'm going to put a negative on that as well. All right, so now when I combine like terms, I'll know the true signs of what those two are going to be. All right, so if we look across the numerator, all right, we have an x squared, we have a minus 2x, a plus 8x, and then a minus 8x. So when I combine those three like terms, all we're left with is a minus 2x, and then we have a negative 16 plus a negative 8, so a negative 24. All right. So we've combined like terms across the top, the denominator stays the same. And then what you have to look to do is, you might sometimes have to factor this numerator. So in this case, what multiplies to give us a negative 24 and adds to give us a positive 2 will be x minus 6 and x plus 4, and that's over an x plus 8, an x plus 4, and an x plus 1, which x plus 4s would cancel, leaving your final answer to be x minus 6 over x plus 8 and x plus 1. All right, and again, you can check these in your calculator. You can store a value for x, which in this case, x is this 5.687. And I'm going to go back to the original, type in x minus 2 over x squared plus 5x plus 4, and then minus the second fraction, so 8 over x squared plus 12x plus 32. All right, we get that value. So when I go down to the final answer here, and type that in, so x minus 6 over x plus 8 and x plus 1, they should match, which confirms that my answer is correct.